Welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio from Stewards Planning Group. Stewards Planning Group is a company that specializes in helping you build purposeful retirement plans, custom plans that not only help clients steward their treasure, but also their time and talent as well. They believe if you're taken care of financially, you can go even further to make the family, community, and kingdom impact you truly desire to make, which is the ultimate purpose of wealth. If you'd like to set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting with one of their financial advisors, please give them a call at 222-4236. You can request a meeting at stewardsplanning.com, or you can simply stop by their office on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. I'm your host, Ben Taatjes, and once again joined in the studio. This week I'm joined by Jonathan Shofner. Jonathan, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Hey, good. So we survived tax season, and now it's kind of on to some summer projects and work. And you said something before I hit record, and we don't usually script out these shows too much, but have a general outline of what we want to say. And you said something to the effect of tax planning or our income taxes are backwards looking and tax planning is forward looking, or planning's going forward. Maybe you can kind of walk me through what you meant and why it's so important for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So I view our tax return as like a report card. So taxes look backwards and financial planning looks forward. So it helps decide what we do next.
Awesome. So that's a perfect segue into the summer. I think a lot of people, they get done with their income taxes and then they forget about financial stuff and taxes and things that they could do differently until next year. Sometime close to December, we'll start looking at this again, and they miss out on really the entire year of planning and things that you could be doing. So I really like that approach. What types of things, I guess, just to start off, as we look at stewardship and stewarding our assets, what types of things are you working with your clients with right now this summer that are front and foremost for our clients?
So really taking a deep dive into planning. So as of right now, a lot of things we can do is start looking for Roth conversions. Depending on the market's doing well right now, but there could be times that we have clients that we really look and tactically do Roth conversions throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal situation, of course, is a conversion happens when the markets are down and when your income tax bracket is lower than what it might be in the future, right? That's the general idea. Now, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what the markets are going to do, but anytime there's a significant, let's just call it a 10% correction, if there's a 10% drawdown in the markets, you could look at it as if you would convert in that season when things are down before things rebound, and you move that over to a traditional IRA, and then hopefully things come back while they're out of the traditional IRA and into the Roth, right? The money grows back and returns back in the Roth IRA. They're making the conversion even more beneficial, correct?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So we'll see what the markets hold. I think it's just always a good idea to be meeting with your financial professional to review things on a regular basis. Life events, and we've seen lots of life events while working with clients, everything from deaths in the family to divorces and just all kinds of life events, changes of jobs, all of those things. Usually there's money involved. A life event ends up being somehow tied to a financial thing, and that's why we are able to then step in and be able to be that voice, right, to give wisdom and knowledge and help clients, because we've seen so many of these things. We've seen clients go through these things, and sometimes it's just being able to talk to somebody. Other times we're able to actually, of course, help them with a financial tool or technique that can help them in that season of life. So what other things are you talking with clients about in the summer right now? I know specifically you've talked to me about the Stewards Plan, kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of a client's financial plan, but where are you taking conversations right now with clients?
Absolutely. Right now is more of a spending plan. I need to see how much you're spending, how much you need to live off of, so we can take that and, recreate it in the sense of how do we turn your assets into an income stream when retirement comes?
Yeah, so it's kind of step 2 of our what we call a steward's plan around here. There's the first step, which is understanding what somebody has. I think most people, I'm not going to say most, but many people come in and they've got a pretty good handle of where their stuff is at. But once we have that kind of laid out and they're able to answer question 1, which is what am I stewarding? What you're specifically saying there is, if I know what I'm stewarding, the second question, what or how much really do I need to live on now and in the future? I love that you called it a spending plan. You and I have been in meetings together where we talk about budgets, and we usually see like the husband or the wife kick each other under the table across the room from us, because nobody likes that word a budget, because it kind of portrays constraint around spending. And if we call it a spending plan, it's usually a little bit more received well. And I think it also it really describes what we're trying to do. The income side of things is somewhat, it's governed by your job, right? It's governed by either your retirement assets that you have, right? Your income coming over from that. But how much you're spending is something you can control to many extents, and to be able to figure out what that is a huge building block of a financial plan. Over the coming weeks and months, we'll talk more about the other pieces of a steward's plan. Of course, the last question, I don't want a cliffhanger here. The last question is, if we know what we have, we know what we're spending, we need to really answer that question of what do you do with what's left over. And so many times our conversations end there with clients, and they get to be really deep and rich conversations because people want to be good stewards of their money, and sometimes that includes preparing the next steward and making sure that they're ready to receive money someday. Sometimes that's charity, sometimes that's children, but either way, we know that last question's really, really important to stewardship. So, Jonathan, thanks for joining me again today. I think those are key things that we'll be talking to their clients about all summer long as we continue to meet with them. And until next week, from all of us here at Stewards Planning Group, steward well.
Ben Taatjes is a financial advisor at Stewards Planning Group. Securities offered through Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cetera Investment Advisors, LLC. A registered investment advisor. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity. 1104 19th Avenue Southwest, Wilmer, Minnesota 56201. The views depicted in this material are for information purposes only and are not necessarily those of Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. They should not be considered specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Neither Cetera Wealth Services, LLC nor any of its representatives may give legal or tax advice.